Now we are going to start our embryology, development of face, nose and palate. So first in this diagram you can see our embryo. This is our cephalic end, this is our caudal end, and here there is mesenchyme covering the forebrain and the developing forebrain bulge. And here you can see this is a stomatium from which our mouth forms, and this is the buccopharyngeal membrane, and here is the pericardium bulge, and this is the foregut within it. So and you can see this is a frontonasal process. So this process helps us a lot in the formation of face. Now let us continue forward, and here you can see this is the frontonasal process. This is the stomatium. This is a mandibular arch. You know that mandibular arch is part of first pharyngeal arch. So this further divides to form even the maxillary process. So this is a mandibular arch and this is a pericardium. Now you can see this is a frontonasal process, right? This is a maxillary process and this is a mandibular process. So our maxillary process, mandibular process and frontonasal process, all three together help a lot in the formation of face. So here you can see now the nasal placodes are formed in a frontonasal process, and this is a maxillary mandibular process. And now you can see what is happening here. The frontonasal process is here itself. Now this nasal placode is dividing into medial nasal process and the lateral nasal process, and in between them we have a nasal pit which future forms a external nares, or inside it forms nasal cavity. So it is nothing but you can say the opening of our nose, and here the lens placode are formed, right? This lens placode later convert into eye, and this is the maxillary process. So this is how development of face takes place. And let us see all the structures which are forming here. And here you can see this is the primitive mouth. So now what happens is, as you can see, mandibular process is fused lower, it forms lower lip, lower jaw, and the maxillary process also fuse along with the nasal process. So first maxillary process fuse with the lateral nasal process, next with the medial nasal process. Completely it forms the upper part of the lip, and the middle part it forms a philtrum of the lip. So you can see this is and the naso-optic furrow, also known as inside, if the ectoderm is laid down, then it forms a nasolacrimal duct. So we know this, it's mainly between the maxillary process and the lateral nasal process. So here from in a conjunctival sac there is a lacrimal gland which produces tears. So the tears from our eyes also enter our nose and mouth by this lacro-optic furrow, which is present between lateral medial process and the maxillary process. So here you can see the maxillary process fuses with the lateral process over here, that is at the junction of our naso-optic furrow, and this is a fused mandibular process. So next what happens, you can see the frontonasal process, lateral nasal process, eye is formed, maxillary process fused with the medial nasal process now, and the here mandibular process. So maxillary and mandibular process fuse to form cheek. So what happens, maxillary and mandibular both are forming together to form cheek. You can see the cheek is forming here. Mainly the dorsal parts fuse to form the cheek, and you can see frontonasal process has become a narrow now because of this all developing structures. And finally you can see the derivation parts of our face. So or frontonasal, in the name only you can understand this frontonasal process is giving rise to formation of our nose, forebrain, and from lateral nasal process lateral part of ella are formed, and you can see the upper part of cheeks from maxillary process, lower part of the cheek from mandibular process, lateral part of upper lip from maxillary process, and medial part of upper limb from frontonasal process, lower lip from the mandibular process. So this is how our face develops. And also you can see the formation of upper lip. So from frontonasal process, from maxillary process overgrows the frontonasal process. So that is what actually that frontonasal process is mesodermal in origin, and because of the ectodermal overgrowth over this, the whole upper lip becomes ectodermal. And Ellis says in development of face seen from lateral side. If you see from lateral side, you can say this is how lens placode, nasal placode are looking. This is the maxillary mandibular process, first cleft, second cleft, and pericardium. So you can see the eye, the nasal pit, and the first cleft developing into the external ear. So latest stage in development of face from lateral aspect. So this is how the face is forming. Maxillary and mandibular process used to form cheek, and this auricle of ear is forming. So form the maxillary, upper part of lip, frontonasal process forming nose, mandibular process forming lower part, right? And this is from the second arch. So this is how our face is forming. And also we have some abnormalities, anomalies. We'll see all those. So now let's come to our text part. So now you can easily understand all these points. So let's start. So stomatium is mainly between the brain and pericardial bulges. If you remember, right, bulges is mainly present on ventral part of the embryo. So stomatium forms the floor. In the floor it has a buccopharyngeal membrane which separates from the forehead. So the mesoderm covering of the forebrain proliferates and mainly forming a downward projection, that is the frontonasal process. And the face is mainly derived from the frontonasal process, the first pharyngeal arch. And in first pharyngeal arch, that is mandibular arch, which is divided into maxillary part and mandibular part. Maxillary part is a dorsal bud and the mandibular part grow ventromedially. And our ectoderm thickening in the frontonasal process has nasal placodes, which is mainly induced, its growth is induced by the forebrain, and this nasal placodes later convert into nasal pits, right? And if you remember, mandibular arch is nothing but formed from the lateral wall of the stomatium. And next, nasal process is divided into medial nasal process and lateral nasal process. So this is all theory as we saw in the diagram. Next, let us see face development. So understand about lower lip. You can understand lower lip is developed from the mandibular process. Even the lower jaw is from mandibular process. And the upper lip forms from the frontonasal process fused with the maxillary process. You can understand upper lip is formed by both fusion of medial and lateral parts of the frontonasal process with the maxillary process. Maxillary process is of mesodermal origin. So the nasal pits are called external nates which cut off from the stomatium, and this is mainly lined by the ectoderm, that is upper lip totally lined by the ectoderm. So mesodermal part of the median lip forms a philtrum, because median lip fusion with the maxillary process forms a philtrum, which is exactly above our upper lip. And the skin of the maxillary process or the upper lip innervated by the maxillary nerve, because it's maxillary part. Trigeminal nerve, trigeminal nerve maxillary part supplies this area. And the muscles of face, mainly lips, mesodermal in origin, are of second branchial arch, and they are mainly supplied by facial nerve, because we know second branchial arch is supplied by the facial nerve. And now let us see how nose is formed. So nose, of course, it forms from frontonasal process fusion with the nasal pit. We know nasal pits fusion. So medial and lateral nasal process of right and left sides fuse together, and external nares are formed when the nasal pit is cut off from the stomatium, mainly by the fusion of maxillary process with the medial nasal process. So the mesoderm is heaped up in the median plane to form a prominence of the nose. So the groove between the nose and the forebrain is nothing but the forehead, right, between the nose and the forebrain. And next, let us see cheeks. So cheeks are formed from the dorsal part of the maxillary and the mandibular fusion. So in the dorsal part, as this maxillary and mandibular continue and form the cheek. So the naso-optic furrow or the nasolacrimal sulcus between the maxillary and lateral nasal process, it is present between maxillary and lateral nasal process. And the nasolacrimal sulcus, if it has ectoderm in it, then it is known as nasolacrimal duct. Next, let us see how eye is formed. Actually, we will discuss in detail about eye and ear. Our embryology we already discussed in our video. So here just we'll see according to it, because now we are in phase development. So eye is ectodermal thickening. It has lens placode, right? It's located ventrolaterally and also lateral and cranial to the nasal placode. So this ectodermal thickening also have bulgings which are appearing more laterally, and they lie between the maxillary and the lateral nasal process angles. And next, eyelids. Eyelids are also ectodermal and they're enclosed within the folds. In their folds they have the mesoderm. Next, let us see external ear. So external ear is formed by mainly dorsal part of first ectodermal cleft, and the mesodermal thickening forms the tubercles or hillocks which mainly appear on the mandibular or hyoid arches which adjoin the cleft. So the pinna or auricle is formed by the fusion of these thickenings. Next, let us see the first pinna. First pinna is caudal to developing jaw and pushed backwards or upwards by enlargement of mandibular process, and if it fails to enlarge, then it forms the ears which are formed low down. Now let us see anomalous. Anomalous where we have hair lip. Hair lip means it's the upper left cleft where the maxillary process don't fuse with the medial nasal process, and it may be unilateral or bilateral. So here the air lip is defective development of the lower part of the frontonasal process. Mainly it's a midline defect. And the two mandibular processes are also not fusing here, and the lower lip defect in the midline, which is also extending to the jaw. Next let us move on to our oblique facial cleft. So here what happens is the maxillary process are not fusing with the lateral nasal process, and the cleft is formed in the medial angle of the eye up to the mouth, and even even nasolacrimal duct is also absent. Next let us move on to macrostomia. In the name itself we can understand that is a bigger mouth. Why it is formed? Because there is no fusion of mandibular and maxillary process, and it is causing abnormal wide mouth, which is also unilateral, and lateral facial cleft is formed. So it is too much fusion. If too much fusion takes place, then there is small mouth, then it is known as the name you can understand, microstomia. Now let us move to bifid nose along with a median cleft lip. It is mainly due to the bifurcation of frontonasal process, that is half of it is absent. And rarely the nose may be cylindrical projection, or also proboscis may present, which is below the forehead, and half of it is affected. That is mainly due because of fusion of our two eyes, that is also called as cyclops. Next let us check out the first arch. So the first pharyngeal arch, if it is underdeveloped on one side or both sides, it affects the lower eyelid. It is called coloboma effect. And the maxilla, mandible are also maxilla, mandible, external ear, cheek prominence are absent, and ear is ventrally and caudally displaced. So along with cleft palate and faulty deterioration. So this is known as mandibulofacial dystosis, and we also have trichocolin syndrome, or also called as first arch syndrome, in which the genetic condition is inherited as autosomal dominant. Next let us see the half of the face is underdeveloped or sometimes may overdeveloped, and the mandible may be small from the receding chin, and it is called as retrognathia, or also called flat, and it is also failed to develop, then it is known as agnathia. That is, if mandible failed to develop, then it is called agnathia. And next there is congenital tumors which are related to face, like duplication in some parts. And next sometimes we have widely separated eyes, that is called as hypertelorism, which is mainly having broad nasal bridge, excessive tissues present in the frontonasal process, and the lips are mainly having congenital pits or fistula, or sometimes lips may also be double. So these are all the anomalies related to the face. So here once we can check out the varieties of hair lip for, these are all anomalies of face. So how the hair lips are formed, you can see where the, as we discuss, in a hair lip there is no maxillary process is not fusing with the medial nasal process, or also there may be defective formation of frontonasal process, which due to midline defects, and also there may be like two mandibular process are not fusing with each other, so that they show lower lip defects. So all these defects you can see here, and you can see here oblique facial cleft from eye up to here, and you can see abnormal face showing single median eye cyclops, and a rod like projection is seen above the eye, that is proboscis. You can see proboscis, single median eye, it's looking note that the nose is missing, and he's looking like somewhat devil, right? Now we'll move on to development of our nose, or we have nasal cavities, paranasal sinus. So first you can see this is how the nasal pit is formed. If we see from the lateral side, this is the nasal pit, right? If you remember, this is a frontonasal process, and this side we have nasal pit. So this is the nasal pit, this is a stomatium, which forms future mouth, and it's a foreguard, and you can see anterior nares are getting formed, and it's a primitive palate. Actually primitive palate is formed from the maxillary process. Primitive palate is formed from our frontonasal process, medial nasal process fused together and form the primitive palate. So you can see this is a primitive palate, and above we have an anterior nares, and this is the oral cavity, and here's a forming developing tongue, and here's a pharynx. And next what happens is the anterior nasal sac deepens further. You can see it, how it has deepened. Before you can see just like a pit, so it started deepening from each stage, and you can see it's now forming a sac like structure, so it is called nasal sac. Still it's an anterior nair, and this is stomachium, tongue, and the bucco-nasal membrane. So you can see this lining, this is a bucco-nasal membrane that divides the nasal cavity from our bucco means mouth cavity, so hence the name bucco-nasal membrane. And here you can see now everything is formed, that primitive palate, nasal cavity, now it's connecting with our nasopharynx. We know pharynx connect with the nasal cavity, and it's oral cavity, it also connects with our oropharynx. And you can see this is the posterior nares which are mainly formed by breaking down of bucco-nasal membrane. So the bucco-nasal membrane now breaks down, and now it takes now the primitive palate takes its place over here, and it separates now the nasal cavity from our buccal oral cavity. So this is still the developing tongue, and the posterior nares are formed by breaking down of bucco-nasal membrane. And now here you can see this is from the frontal view, that is from the lateral view. So in the frontal view you can see this is a frontonasal process. Here's the nasal sacs, this is the primitive palate, and here's the bucco-nasal membrane. And now you can see the frontonasal process is getting together, and external nares are getting together, so the nasal cavity is also bigger, and the primitive palate is now separating them from the oral cavity. So this is how bucco-nasal membrane disappears, and the frontonasal process forms like this, and it's a nasal cavity. Now we'll check out our theory part. So development of nasal cavity is mainly formed by extension of nasal pits, as we saw in our diagram. So first open communication with the stomachium, right? And next the medial and lateral process fuse, and it's a partition between the pit and the stomachium forms, which forms the primitive palate. And next from the primitive palate mainly forms from the frontonasal process, that is medial frontonasal process, fuse together and form the primitive palate. Next the nasal pits deepen and form the nasal sac, which expand dorsally and also caudally, and it is separated from stomachium mainly by bucco-nasal membrane, also known as nasal fin, and it breakdowns later, and the nasal sac and the ventral orifice open on the face, that is forming an anterior or external nares along with the dorsal orifice open to the stomachium, and it forms a primitive posterior nasal aperture. So between the nasal pits, you have thin nasal septum, that is in the ventral part along with the primary palate, and posteriorly we have the bucco-nasal membrane. So the nasal concha or the elevation are formed on the lateral walls of the nasal cavity, and even the olfactory plecodes which form the epithelium lining in the floor, which form the olfactory epithelium which lie in the roof and wall of the nasal cavity. Now let us move on to anomalies. So there are anomalies like atresia of external nares or in posterior nasal aperture, and the cavity proper, it may be unilateral or bilateral, that is in one nose or both nose, and that nares, and also maybe total absence of the nasal passage sometimes. And next let us see congenital defects in cribriform plate of ethmoid bone. We know it is just above our nose, so it's communication between the cranial and nose cavities, and the nasal septum is not in the middle, it's not in the midline sometimes, that is a defect to one side, or septum may be absent, and the nasal cavity communicate with the mouth, which is also an anomaly. Now we'll see the paranasal sinuses. So the diverticula in the nasal cavity invade the bone, which is nothing but the paranasal diverticula in the nasal cavity are the paranasal sinuses, and they invade the bone, mainly maxillary, sphenoid sinus. So this maxillary and sphenoid sinus only developed before the birth. They're already developed before the birth, but all the other sinuses developed after the birth. And the paranasal sinuses enlargement lead to enlargement of the facial skeleton. So even jaws are enlarged, and there is space available for the growth of the teeth. And the facial skeletal enlargement mainly changes the look of the baby, because now almost it is like a fully formed face. Now let us see palate development. First let us see diagram and understand. Next let us come to the theory part. So here you can check out the frontonasal process, medial part mainly fused together to form a primitive palate or the primary palate, which is nothing but also called as premaxilla. So you can say it's the right side and left side of a maxillary process. So it comes and fuse with the medial side, to form upper lip, right? So here at the region of this fusion of medial frontonasal process forms a premaxilla, and you can see the right and left side maxillary process. Here is the stomachium and this is the nasal septum. this is the nasal cavity, and the maxillary process is over here. So this is actually used for the representation of secondary palate, how it forms. So maxillary process, especially they have the palate and process over here. So this maxillary process come together and fuse to form our secondary palate. So now you should say that primary palate is formed from the fusion of medial nasal process of frontonasal process, and the secondary palate is formed from the fusion of palatine process of maxillary process. So you can see I wrote here, development of palate is by fusion of maxillary process and the frontonasal process. Frontonasal process lead to formation of primary palate, maxillary process fuse together to form the secondary palate, and both together fuse to form the definitive palate, which is our original palate. So you can see this is the median part of upper lip, and this is the palatine process of maxillary. So both together they form a Y-shaped structure like this. So both together fuse together and form our normal definitive palate. You can see this is the position of nasal septum, and you can see it's mentioned premaxilla. This is the median part of upper limb, palatine process, maxillary process, and this is the nasal septum. This is how the secondary palate is formed, because now two maxillary processes are fused over here. And you can see the embryological subdivision of palate. Yeah, as I said, it's in Y-shaped, right? So it forms a primitive palate frontonasal process one. This forms a premaxilla, and from the palatine process, maxillary process, and this is a soft palate. So what a soft palate is, actually it undergoes intramembranous ossification and forms a hard palate, and the remaining part that is towards our uvula, uvula, that is posteriorly we have small tongue, we also call a small tongue. So this forms a soft palate because it doesn't undergo any intramembranous ossification. So now let us see the theory part, and we are going to end this development of face, nose and palate. So now let us start with development of palate. So you can see the maxillary process along with the frontonasal process fusion form the palate. So maxillary process extend backward and form a palate-like shelf grow medially. That is the palatal process. So two palatal process along with the primitive palate form a definitive palate. So medial fusion of frontonasal process form the premaxilla, which also contains some incisor teeth. And the medial side of two palatine process fuse with the three lower edge of the nasal septum. And the mesoderm in the palate undergoes intramembranous ossification to form the hard palate. If it doesn't go, then it forms a soft palate in the posterior part, which forms a uvula. And cleft palate. So this is an anomaly like cleft palate. It is a defective fusion of palate which forms clefts which extend into anterior end, and also sometimes associated with the hair lips. That is because both upper lip and palate are formed by the fusion of maxillary process. So it also associates. So the cleft may also associate with the hair lip and maxillary process and the frontonasal. As we know that upper lip and palate are formed mainly by fusion of maxillary process and the frontonasal process. So cleft palate is an anomalous communication between mouth and the nose. It also may be unilateral or bilateral. So that's it all about face, nose and palate development. So if you like our video, like, share and subscribe, and also don't forget to click on bell icon. So that's it today for today.